The first annual report on the Mother and Baby Institutions Payment Scheme has been published, outlining how the scheme has operated since it opened 2 years ago. But for survivors and their families, the figures only tell part of the story. Joining us now is Breeda Murphy. Breeda's peer of the Tuam Mother and Baby Home Alliance. Breeda, thank you for being with us on the show.
You're welcome, Alan.
Breeda, can you tell us what kind of feedback are you hearing from people who've applied to the scheme so far? Has it been, I suppose, an easy enough experience for them? Have there been any difficulties encountered?
There have been many difficulties encountered, and it was an unfit scheme from the outset, Alan. You will remember that even the human rights people and those with the Irish civil liberties spoke to the government about how inappropriate and how unfit for purpose this particular scheme was in its design stage. They refused amendments, and hopefully amendments can be put forward within the next 6 months. We went to Europe in November to speak with Kathleen Funchion, took us over there. She's a Sinn Féin MEP, to speak over there to try and gain support to include those who are excluded. The Irish government stated that there were approximately 58,000 living survivors who would qualify or who should qualify for mother and baby home redress. But then they restricted it and only allowed 34,000 to apply for redress. The other 24,000 excluded for reasons such as being in the mother and baby home under the period of 6 months. So if you were there 5 months and 30 days, and there were 31 days in the month, you don't qualify. But if you're there 6 months and a day, you do qualify. Now, Roderick O'Gorman, who was the minister at the time, was asked in the All-Éireann about that, and he suggested that children under 6 months wouldn't remember. And of course, that he was called out on that, and he did apologise later. But it shows the mindset of government. And in this first report, which dates from January 2024 to December 24, so already, we're a year behind. It tells us that less than 6,000 of those 34,000 that are allowed to apply have applied for the scheme.
Okay, and Breeda, like you've well explained the difficulties in terms of who's included and who's excluded. For those who are included, though, I'm wondering, because the department says the application process is straightforward, but has that been the reality for survivors who are included in the process?
Absolutely not. It has not been straightforward. It has been difficult. Now, the majority of those who applied come into the age bracket of 61 to 70. And from 71 to 80, 1,400 or so applied. Then you had up between 91 and 100, you had that age group, you had 52 apply. The thing we've said to government right along has been that our members are older. Indeed, we lost a member last week, and 2 Magdalene women were buried last week, one who had been quite outspoken. And that's the reality. So the government suggested that because the scheme is open for a 5-year period, that people would apply at the latter end of it. That has not been the case. And so because I knew in 2024 people were not coming forward, it was being reported, and we knew from the UK as well. And so for 2025, I looked for those figures, and Albert Dolan, who's a local TD here in Galway, the Galway region, he asked the question for me. And the reason I think that we haven't got further information as to 2025 at the moment is that very, very few, there's like 6,000 applied up to the end of 24. 7,000 is all, another 1,000 is all that has applied, it looks like, through 2025. So, the numbers are not coming forward. Now, there are a couple of reasons for that. In the UK, for instance, if they were to get an award, receive any financial award from Ireland for being in a mother and baby home, and some monies are, just about 5,000, they will lose their social benefits. So they could lose their housing. They could lose any medical supports they have. So people are not coming forward. And then Liam Conlon, who's an MP in the UK, he brought a bill into the UK Parliament asking the UK government to disregard any monies that Irish people who had been in a mother and baby home or an associated institution would receive, to disregard that and to allow them as they would get here in Ireland without it impacting on social supports. Now, that bill is called Philomena's Bill, Philomena's Law. It's brought into Parliament with the support of Philomena Lee from Shanross Abbey, and who is well known. And it is one of the reasons we believe why people in the UK will not take up any support that is given to them if they're on social welfare or any benefits from the UK government.
It really sounds, Breeda, like the whole process is only serving to reopen the trauma for some people, whether they're excluded from the scheme or whether they can apply for it. And those who have applied, the difficulties they found, as you said, counteracting what the department said, the application process is not straightforward from yours and their perspective. It just sounds like it all serves to only reopen the trauma that they've gone through already in their lives.
Absolutely. And there were 13 data breaches in this tranche in the 2024 report. And data breaches for people who have been in a mother and baby home or any institution, often they have held on to their memories. They are internalised the shame. They couldn't speak of it. Unlike, Anthony has come forward to you, Anthony Morrissey, and has been able to speak. But even then, he tells you of the trauma that he has suffered and why he was silent for so long. So, to find that there are data breaches, 13 of them, is absolutely unforgivable, because we do everything in our power to ensure the safety of our people coming forward. Like going to Europe, we went to Europe sort of to try and impact over there, to try and get the Irish government to address the injustice. I mean, it's discriminatory. If you say a child of 6 months and a day can qualify, but one under that period cannot, straight away, it makes absolutely no sense. But it's purely a financial thing. And I think now the government will be forced to look at why only approximately 7,000 people have come forward. And not all of those are getting the redress. Now, our members will tell you that when they apply, it's really, really difficult. It's based on how many days you spent within the institution. So the fact that you were separated from your mother at birth or she from you means absolutely nothing. And that stays with them for life. For instance, the most recent Magdalen Laundry lady that was buried, Mary Merritt, she was born in a workhouse 95 years ago. She was then taken to the Sisters of Mercy orphanage in Ballinasloe, where she remained for 14 years. At that stage, she had stolen apples from an orchard nearby. The following day, a nun took her to a laundry, High Park Laundry, in the Magdalen Laundry in Dublin. She left at the age of 31. In other words, she was allowed to leave. She was kicked out, as she says herself. She was out on the street, sitting on a seat on Griffith Avenue, and a lady called Mrs. Cronin came along and asked her what was wrong. And she said, "I have nowhere to go. They've let me go." So she said, she took her to her home. She gave her clothes. She said, "Next morning, we will look for work." She got her a job in a laundry, and Mary Merritt remained in Ireland working in a laundry for some time, got her own independent living, and then went to the UK, where she met her husband, Bill, and they built a business. And she has talked about her early life, being in care until the age of 31, and right up to her death at 95. She asked time and again for the religious orders to acknowledge what had happened to her, to apologise to her, and she never received that apology. Now, we were told in the 2013 McAleese report on the Magdalen laundries that they did not make any money, but that has since been proved wrong by files that were found on the Donnybrook laundry when it was being cleared out. The Donnybrook laundry was sold as a going concern, and it showed that in 1975, in today's figures, they made $500,000 profit. So, this story it goes around in my head.
And Breeda, can I ask you about the remark? Can I ask you about the remark you made? Where you said the government will be forced to look at the numbers of those excluded and why they're excluded. Even if they're forced to look at it, do you see any prospect of change. And it's, from everything you've told us, it doesn't sound like survivors' voices are being heard and shaping the payment scheme. Is that likely to change?
I'm hopeful. You see, we have to remain hopeful. And going to Europe, over there we have Michael McGrath, who's the Commissioner for Justice. We also have Michael O'Flaherty, who's the Commissioner for Human Rights, and he's from Galway. So we have, people over there who know the Irish story. But the unfortunate thing is that the Irish government hold all the cards. And when we went there under Sinn Féin and they invited all the MEPs in, very few turned up. Now, Barry Cowan did, to be fair, as did Mr. Kelly and Nina Carberry. And I've had correspondence with Nina Carberry and hope to meet her soon. But, Barry Cowan was in Dáil when this redress scheme was put through. So all of these people in Fine Gael and in Fianna Fáil, they came under the party whip. They didn't vote with conscience, but they voted against survivors. And as you and I well know, survivors live within our homes, our communities. They are not, all living overseas. Many are. And indeed, if you look at where the applications have come from, they have come from every corner of the world, with 10% coming from the UK in the 2024 report. I'm looking forward, though, to the 2025 report. And the reason we went on the 11th of November to Europe was to impress upon the Irish over there to come back to our government and tell them how inappropriate and how unfit the redress scheme currently is, while it excludes so many. So we have an opportunity this year. It's up for review.
To make sure that...
it has to be mentioned, Alan, in Dáil Éireann, and it'll be up for debate.
Okay.
And that is our chance to force through amendments. And I'm hoping Michael McNamara, for instance, from your area, and any of the TDs, senators, will do their best.
We'll give it their backing. Breeda, do have to leave it there, but I hope the next time we're speaking to you that the 2025 report, there's certainly a change from the perspective you've given us on this. That's Breeda Murphy there, the PRO, the Tuam Mother and Baby Home Alliance.